Hello, good afternoon, and I'm waving you all from Mumbai on this beautiful monsoon day. I am truly delighted to see so many of you joining us today's webinar on EPR updates. My name is Ipsita Roy, and I'm honored to be your host for today's training session. Today's discussion promises to be highly insightful as we delve into crucial topics related to EPR compliance, focused on Plastic Waste Management Rules 2016 as amended. We have the privilege of having two esteemed expert speakers, Mr. Abhishek Garg and supported by Mr. Puneet Kush. During the webinar, we will have the opportunity to learn from our expert speakers and gain valuable insights into the latest developments in EPR compliance. Whether you are a producer, an importer, or a brand owner, the knowledge shared here today will help us all navigate the complexities of EPR compliances more effectively. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be a part of this webinar. Your presence and engagement will undoubtedly enrich the discussions and make this session all the more valuable. Moving on, in today's session, which will be supported by the EPR Compliance Toolkit, as we see a lot of inquiries keep on coming, we have initiated our WhatsApp community, the link of which we will be sharing in the chat box. You can join us and support us in keeping you updated through the EPR compliances. We will also be sharing a link to the query form. So by any chance, if we miss any of your queries, don't worry. We will be reaching out to you, supporting out throughout your EPR compliances. In this EPR compliance toolkit, you will get a consolidated plastic waste management rule book with amendments, with all the amendments till date, a self-explanatory presentation on the Plastic Waste Management Rule 2016 as amended, EPR registration checklist with guidance, the checklist for transaction details uploading along with the guidance provided, and the presentation of today's training session. So yes, now I invite Mr. Abhishek Garg to please start the training session.
Thank you. Thank you, Ipshita. Hope I am audible.
Yes, you are.
Great. So it's a we are very glad to see such a great participation, and all of you. Thanks a lot for taking out time to understand about the EPR compliances and get yourself equipped with knowledge and understanding how to fulfill the EPR compliance and what it covers and what it not. Before delving into going into the EPR compliances in detail, a little background about how the rules have evolved. So the PWM rules, which governs the extended producer responsibility for plastic packaging, was introduced in 2016, and subsequent to that there was slight amendments which happened in 2018 and 2021. There was some series of amendments which started, which spoke about prohibition on SUPs, specified SUPs, and marking and labeling. So during this phase 2016 to 2021, there was a whole EPR compliances was carried out in a offline mechanism. There was a offline forms. There was a very less clarity. There was so many ambiguities to it. But post 2022, wherein February there was a milestone wherein the final EPR guidelines, which is attached as a guidelines to the rule book, which came in and clarified about the obligations, which clarified about what are the types of plastic which is covered, and clarified about what is the how to fulfill the obligation. Those things came out, and subsequent to that, CPCB also released the online portal which takes care for end-to-end compliances and management starting from registration, which was also introduced, and it facilitates many more things for your EPR journey. But this was a significant milestone, and subsequent to that, in 2023, recently in April, there was an amendment which came, which exempted rigid plastic packaging from the marking labeling requirement, which extended the deadline for filing of annual return for FY 22-23 to 31st October, and the renewal requirement, which was previously there mentioned in the SOP, was removed from these amendment under the rule. To give you a point of view, from 2016 to 2021, the offline era, there was only 350 approximately producers or importers or brand owners were registered. But post the new era, which is 2022, you would see around 15,000 of PIBOs are now registered and many more is yet to come. We all understand that. And this whole system of compliance is going to be get managed through the online mechanism. So yeah, let's delve into it. Let's move ahead, Ipshita. So, this is a one-pager brief summary of the PWM plus the EPR rules, as this which clarifies what are the things covered under the rule. I will be very quickly taking you through this. So, there are four obligated entities which are covered under the EPR rules, which is producers, importers, brand owners, and plastic waste processors. So, producers of plastic packaging, as per the guidelines, are the companies who produces the plastic packaging or are covered into the value chain of creation of the plastic packaging. Importers are the companies who either imports plastic packaging or they import product with plastic packaging, and this is a mandatory obligation because today for every import where there is a plastic packaging, custom authorities are asking for the registration, EPR registration. And it's a very critical compliance from that angle. So if you are in imports, you need to have this registration. Brand owner are the companies who are registered with a registered trademark and label, and are the companies who uses such plastic packaging, purchases and uses such plastic packaging to package product and introduce into the market. So these are the producers, importers, and brand owners are the key companies who are involved in this plastic packaging and in production of plastic packaging or procurement and introduction of those plastic packaging into the market. The plastic waste processor, the further the very important stakeholder are the companies who are involved in the processing of plastic waste in through multiple ways, like recycling, like co-processing, like waste to energy, like all those kind of plastic waste processing are covered under the definition of plastic waste processors. Now, EPR is applicable only for the plastic packaging. It does not cover the plastic products. So if you talk about plastic chairs, plastic toys, no, those are not covered under the rule for EPR, but the plastic packaging used for these chairs and toys are covered under the EPR obligation for the companies. It's a very important and a critical rule under which if you are using a plastic packaging, you cannot do business without having a EPR registration. Further, if you are not also allowed to deal with unregistered unregistered supplier for procuring such materials. Further, under this rule, the manufacturers of the plastic granules are not covered under the EPR obligation, but they are supposed to observe other compliances. So these are the obligated entities. Then what are the targets of these obligated entities? So it's very clear in the under the rule, they have provided a methodology to calculate the plastic consumption for such units, and they have given a phased wise target for implementation of EPR program for these companies. For example, it started with FY 21-22, which says 25% of your consumption will be your EPR target. In 22-23, it came to 70%, and this year it is 100%. The calculation methodology is on the basis of last 2 years plastic packaging consumption for the companies, and it also includes pre and post consumer waste. So post consumer waste is very simple. The product which you introduce into the market, your consumer uses it, and the waste is generated. That is post consumer. The plastic waste generated as a waste during the production and during this packaging process, the industrial waste basically are covered as a pre-consumer. Further, CPCB has clarified that this particular EPR obligation for the companies is brand and geography neutral, which simply means put together that you don't have to pick up exactly the same plastic packaging of your brand back. It is equivalent quantity you will have to pick up or sustainably environmentally dispose it off, and it is geography neutral as well. While we spoke about the EPR targets of these companies, the only mechanism and for fulfilling this EPR target is through procuring certificates, online certificate from registered plastic waste processor for those equivalent quantity. So simply put, let's say I'm a company who sells biscuits in a plastic packaging, and I have 100 tons of plastic packaging which I introduced as a target. Then I need 100 tons of EPR certificate from the registered plastic waste processors issued on the online portal of CPCB, which I just spoke about, the national portal. So yeah, this is about EPR target. There are four types of plastic packaging covered under the EPR obligation. Category 1 is rigid, category 2 is flexible, category 3 MLP, category 4 compostable. Category 1 simple, the rigid plastic packaging, for example, the shampoo bottles, the drums, the water the mineral water bottles, all those fall under rigid plastic packaging. Category 2 is flexible, the plastic sheet or like which we use and is a flexible in nature, which are called as flexible. However, over here, the category 2 flexible exactly means it can be of a single layer of a plastic or it can be of a multiple layer of plastic, but all the layers should be of plastic only. It should not be of non-plastic. Further, category 3 MLP is a multi-layer packaging in which there is one layer of plastic and there is an other non-layer of non-plastic layer. So for example, there is a beverage carton or the fruity pack which holds liquid. It is a combination of plastic as well as paper. That is why it is called a category 3 multi-layer packaging. And category 4 plastic sheets made from the compostable plastics. Plastic packaging made out of compostable plastic sheets. So category 1, 2, 3 are the plastics which is made from traditional virgin polymer, petro-based polymer. While category 4 plastics are made from non-petro based polymer, or maybe you can say food starch or cornstarch based polymer, and that is why it is different and it's called compostable plastic packaging. There are series of implementation, and that is what the topic of today. I'll quickly jump into that. Please go ahead. So yeah, so the journey of EPR compliances, as I said, starts with the registration, and but it doesn't stop at registration only. So registration itself is a massive task for getting the starting the journey of EPR. But once you are registered, there is a series of compliances you need to observe and follow. First is definitely a post registration, as an ongoing manner you have to keep on providing the transaction details between the producer, brand owner, or importer to the government on a periodic basis along with the invoices. Once you are registered, you will be given a EPR target on the basis of your consumption. Then for that, those target you need to ensure that you have the enough EPR credit up to that amount of category wise target, which we will be showing you, and you should have a plan of action for fulfilling those. So that is a very critical thing. Third and the very important annual activity is annual report filing for particular year, and these are the thing ongoing which needs to which keeps on which is a part of ongoing compliances for the companies and the obligated entities. Further, there are additional compliances also included, which talks about marking and labeling and thickness compliances. There is a prohibited list of banned SUP, which 16 list of items which are banned, which cannot be used. On top of the registrations and EPR target, there are circularity obligation also been introduced through this law, in which the companies, producers, importers, and brand owners need to ensure they achieve minimum percentage for reuse, recycling, and use of recycled plastic content. However, such obligation is going to start from FY 24-25 and 25-26 onwards, and that is what we will be discussing today here. Additionally, there is CPCB third party audit. While we are registering and observing and doing our compliances, CPCB will also be checking whatever the reporting and things companies have done are in line with the rules and requirement, and they will be third party independent audit, which will be done by the CPCB and panel auditors for these company for the registered companies. So yeah, I would say this is just a starting, and there's a lot of things involved into it, but we have tried to focus this today here on the EPR compliances. Now moving on, the about the obligated entities, how what are the different things implicated under them. So there are three entities we have focused here: is brand owner, producer, brand owner, importer. So who are the producers who are covered under this definition of producer of plastic packaging? See, the companies who are involved in the production of plastic and the plastic sheets and converting into plastic packaging and ultimately providing it to brand owners for using, all those entities are covered as a producer of plastic packaging. So put it simply, the plastic sheet producer, the plastic converter, all of those value chain companies are covered under the producer of plastic packaging. What is the obligation they have? Now this is a very important for the companies and the producers who have joined here. So the quantity eligible plastic consumption quantity methodology or formula given under the rule, it says it is A plus B minus C, and minus C is very important for producers here. So A plus B is nothing. It talks about the average weight of plastic packaging. Plastic packaging, you have sold in the last two financial year for the registration purpose, and average weight of pre-consumer plastic packaging waste generated in last two financial year, and then you add this two plastic packaging total quantum weight, and you reduce the quantity of plastic packaging you have sold to brand owners or producers. Previously in the rule it was mentioned only brand owners, but with the recent update and things happening, producer to producer transfer of quantity is also allowed, and it can be set off against your obligation. One key thing we have to remember here for obligation is that they should be registered, right? Now for the brand owner and importer, you see, for the brand owner, you see there is no C here, and for the definition for the obligation of brand owner and their definition, so the brand owner are the companies who have a registered trademark and uses this plastic packaging to introduce their product into the market, and their obligation limits up to A plus B, which talks about the quantum of plastic packaging procured by these companies and introduced in the market in this by these companies in last two financial year, and the pre-consumer plastic packaging waste generated by these companies in two financial years. And you see there is no C, hence they cannot move this obligation further because they are the end companies who introduce these products with packaging in the market. Coming to the third one, importer, and very important one, because we see a lot of companies are getting implicated while importing some products into the market and custom authorities asking for their registration. So importer are the companies, it's the companies who import plastic packaging as a product or product with plastic packaging into the Indian lands. And if they are doing it, they need to register and disclose all the details as per the normal process of registration. Yes, even importer can move their obligation to the brand owner and producer as per the defined methodology. Now, the registration application for these units for producer, brand owner, and importer are little different, and how it works little differently. For producer, the registration happens at the state wise. So if a producer has 4 units in 4 different states, they will have to create 4 different login for their registration. While for brand owner, if brand owner is operating in more than 2 states, they will have to file one application where then they will have to disclose all the information and in which state they are selling their products. So the producer registration is based on the basis of their production units location. For brand owner and importer, it is based on where they are selling their product, in which state they are selling their products. So that is how the registration applications are being processed and filed. For exemptions, for producer, there is no exemption on the basis of micro or small, and every producer is obligated to register. There are certain, I would say, convenience being provided for a company who is micro and small. For example, not necessary to put invoices, not necessary to put the detailed CTO. So there are certain exemption provided, which is yet to get activated onto the portal. For brand owners, the micro and small, the companies who have a turnover less than 50 crores are exempted for the obligation of EPR under the rule. For importer, there is no such exemption as provided. So in nutshell, can producer transfer the obligation? Yes, they can. Can brand owner? No. And can importer? Yes. Please move on. So I'll invite Puneet here, who will take you through how the registration steps happen, how the registration is taken care of. So yes, Puneet, over to you.
Thank you, Abhishek, and thank you for this very important information as well. Good afternoon, all. I'm Puneet Kush. I'll be taking you through the registration process at this point of time. The registration process has been basically defined in these 6 steps, which starts with the login creation and ends with the payment submission. So the very first step is login creation, wherein the company and the authorized person information is seeked from the portal, and we have to put it in the portal, and then a login ID and password has been created, which has been assigned to a particular entity. After that, there is a part A, wherein The entity details are auto-fetched, which are already given at the login time. Other than that, there are some important information about the plastic consumption, about the operating state, about the total capital investment, production facility detail, which are seeked at part A level. And they also ask for the details of the product, what end product we are making, and the picture of those end product, including packaging. So all these information are seeked at the level of part A. Once we fill in the part A, then there is a part B which comes into picture, wherein they ask for the air and water pollution compliances detail, which in normal terms we call as CTO. Consent to operate a facility at any particular place. So we have to give them about a valid consent of air and water. Right now, they have given an option. The CPCB has come up with an option that if you don't have consent to operate at this point of time and you have applied for the consent to operate, then with that application number, valid application number, we can apply for the EPR registration. So, with this information, with the two things are there. One is application, a valid application for consent to operate, or a valid consent to operate. Anything will work. Then we have to come to the part C, which actually is the mammoth task and which actually is the very important factor here, wherein we have to give them the information about our pre and post consumer waste generation detail at the portal in the 7A, and the invoice wise detail of procurement from registered or unregistered parties or entities. The invoice information of procurement and sales has to be provided in the part C. Then we have to move to part D, which is specifically for the producers. Brand owners and importers are not supposed to give this information, but the producer has to tell CPCB about their facility detail. We have wherein we have to give them about the what is my plot area, what is the GPS location of the unit, uh, then what is the different areas of the unit, like what is the dispatch area, what is the waste processing area, what are the plant machinery detail. We have to give them about what all machineries we are taking. For example, if I have a printing machine, if I have a processing machine, whatever machines we are having at our assembly line, so we have to give them the details of these machinery, each and every machinery at the portal. Then we have to tell them about the power load, and we can back it up with our electricity bill. What is the sanctioned power load? Then we have to give them about the disaster management plan. In the case of any mishappening, disaster happens at the site within the vicinity. Then what is our plan for business continuity and what is the plan to handle that particular disaster? Once we upload all these things, then there is a party wherein they come up with the EPR target and payment information. The payment is based on the payment is on slabs and based on the EPR target generated. So if it is 0 to 1,000, then it is 10,000, 1,000 to 10,000, then it is 20,000, and more than 10,000, it is 50,000. Along with that, basically the cover letter and copy of signature, digital copy, just a scanned copy we have to upload. Can we go to the next slide with this? So the portal here is EPR. Everybody know eprplastic.cpcb.gov.in. At the homepage only, they have given us an option of register. There is a button wherein it calls as register. So once we click on this particular register, it takes us to a page wherein we have to give them the information about our login. Can we go to the next slide? Wherein the information of logins are there. So the very important, so this screen is very important. They seek some important information here, which is of company detail and an authorized person detail. We have to nominate an authorized person. That can be anybody, not necessarily director or some founder of the company, but can be anybody. But we have to designate an authorized person. And once we designate an authorized person, this person will be responsible for every communication with CPCB in EPR regards. So the very important part is that the MSME document is required at this place. wherein we have to tell them about a type of company that in which category we fall, whether medium is small or micro thing. Herein, very important part is if you give the SIN number of your company in case of private limited and others, exception is proprietary and partnership because they don't have the SIN number. If you give the SIN number, it will automatically fetch the entity name, and you will not be able to change that entity name. Apart from that, if you put in the PAN number of the authorized person, it will automatically fetch the name of that authorized person, and again, the same we will not be able to change. Apart from that, you can put a password which has a protocol and one capital letter and all. That once you give that particular password and all and click on submit, uh, there is a your login will be created. That means your first part is done. Login creation is over. Can we go to the next one? Once our login creation is done, then the second step is submitting the application. That means initiating the application and submit it with the information. The first part is very easy, wherein it fetches the information from the login detail. It fetches the information, whatever we have given at the login detail, and it will show you here. But the very important part, we have to upload the respective documents for this, for whatever document they are asking for GST, for PAN, we have to upload the respective document here. And once we upload the respective document, then we have to save it and we have to go to the next section of part A. The next section is important, and it says about the selection of states. That and Abhishek has rightly mentioned on that part that for producer, the states are selected on the basis of the unit. So if I have a unit in Rajasthan, so my operating state would be Rajasthan. For brand owners, the selection of the state or operating state would be based on their sales, in which state they have the footprint of the sales. On the basis of that, they have to identify the operating state. Then the important part is capital invested, wherein you can either refer the CTO if it is there in the CTO. Generally we can see this information at CTO, but if we don't have the information at CTO, then we can refer to our financial statement, audited financial statements, and on the basis of audited financial statement, we can derive this information and we can report here. The plastic consumption, the section which is 5, the plastic consumption, we have to take care a very important thing, that whatever information, the numbers we are reporting in this particular section, that must match with the section which is at the next page called 7A, wherein we are reporting about our pre-consumer and post-consumer waste. So this number should not be less than the number which we are reporting in this section 7A, which is pre plus post. Can we go to the next slide? Once we have furnished those information, then we have to furnish about the consent to operate. As I earlier told you, herein you will find two options. One is valid consent, other one is application submitted. So on the basis of any document, valid consent or application submitted, we furnish the detail here. And once we furnish the detail, we have to say, for obviously for producer, it will be the same state in which they are operating, like they have the unit with, and for brand owner, wherever they have the facility, according to that, they can fill in the information. Then comes the 7A part, wherein we have to report state-wise, category-wise, year-wise, pre and post-consumer detail. So here we have to, for example, if a producer is there, obviously the operating state will be only one. Then it will reflect only one state, and within that particular state, we have to give them the complete information about our pre-consumer and post-consumer, but bifurcated in category wise. What is category in what quantum is in category 1, what quantum is in category 2, category 3, so and so forth. But for brand owner, we have to collate all the information state wise, whatever our operating states are, and we have to fill in the information here about the pre and post consumer. Can we go to the next slide? Here comes the mammoth task. Here comes the very important activity at the portal, wherein we have to report the purchase of plastic raw material and the packaging material in last two financial year at the time of registration, and a detail of sales of plastic raw material or plastic packaging sold to registered or unregistered entities. This becomes very important in Mammoth because we have to give the information invoice wise. So if we have procured the plastic packaging material in last two financial year via say 5,000 invoices, then we have to give them the information of 5,000 invoices in procurement, and the same case goes with the same. I would like to walk you through with the important factor which comes here in this particular sales and purchase part. But this part does not stop here. This activity we have to do subsequently also regularly for every year. So for example, if I say last two financial years, so 21, 22, 22, 23 becomes the last two financial year. The information of 21, 22, 22, 23 have to be given here. But from 23, 24, we have to find that same information subsequently in another section which called as PIB operation. Uh, these are the 16 data points which they ask for purchase and sales detail. Ishita, if you can go to the next slide wherein we have the Excel sheet so that I can. So I would like to walk you through. These are the 16 data points we have collated for you. The very first important part is we have to find out from which entity we are procuring, and we have to identify whether that is a registered entity or an unregistered entity. Although Abhishek has mentioned in his thing that we should not carry any business out with unregistered entity, but CPCB is asking for unregistered and registered both. Then we have to find out what is the entity type as per the definition of plastic waste management rule, whether it is producer, brand owner, importer from whom we are procuring the thing or selling the things. Then the name of the entity, the state, in which state it is operating, what is the address of the entity, what is the mobile number of the entity, the spokesperson, obviously. Then we have to find out the plastic material type within a invoice. For example, plastic material type means whether it is PP, LDP, SDP, or anything. If we have multiple plastic material type within one invoice, then we have to enter that invoice that many times, whatever the plastic material types are. For example, if we have three plastic material type in the same invoice, then we have to upload the invoice three times and repeating the information of each plastic type in one record. Then we have to identify whatever the polymer is falls under which category, say category 1 or category 2. If we cannot identify any plastic material type or it is not present in the CPCB list, then we have to tell it as others, and we have to specify the name of the plastic material type in a different field. So once and the financial year as per the invoice, that in which financial year this invoice is, the date of invoice, on which date the invoice has been raised, the quantity. The herein we have to understand that whenever we say quantity, we are talking about the quantity of plastic packaging. So there can be two options. One, wherein we are directly procuring the plastic packaging or directly selling the plastic packaging. In that case, we have to take the quantum of whole invoice. But for example, if we are procuring the product or selling the product, in that case, we have to just consider the quantum of plastic packaging which is coming with that product. So if I'm procuring a product which weighs around 100 metric ton, but the plastic packaging of that particular product is 10 metric ton, then we have to take 10 here, not 100. But if we are procuring the plastic packaging, then we have to take the complete quantum of that. Then we have to find out the recycled plastic percentage. If that plastic packaging which we are considering has some plastic recycled plastic material, then what is the percentage of that? But again, claiming this recycled plastic has to be backed up with the documents and the processes which you should have on beforehand. Otherwise, claiming will not be adhered or will not happen. Then there has to be a GST number from whom I am procuring or to whom I am selling. So the GST number of that party. Then what is the GST paid as per the invoice? So whatever GST has been paid in the invoice, we have to mention that. Then the invoice number. So we have to get the invoice number. We have to give that. I'll come to that PDF file name a bit later after completing all these things. Then other plastic material type means in the plastic material type, if I am writing others, that means whatever plastic type is not mentioned in the CPCB list, then I have to put in the name of that plastic material type in this column. And if my plastic type is of category 1, then I have to also tell them the container capacity of the plastic, that particular rigid plastic. And the container capacity are bifurcated in three things: less than 0.9 liter, 0.9 liter to 4.9 liter, and greater than 4.9 liter. So we have to identify any of the container capacity as per our product, as per our things, and again accordingly we have to select here. Then there is a country. If there is a person who is an importer, then he has to tell from which country he is importing the thing. Then comes the two important information. One is bank account number and IFSC code, interrelated to each other, but which bank account to take, which IFSC code to take. So it simply goes with the transaction. So a rule says we have to put in the bank account number and IFSC code of the seller. So once I say of the seller, so there are two transactions. One, A is selling to B, then bank account number and IFSC code of A. And if B is selling to his seller, then IFSC code and bank account of B. But herein, in case of our thing, for if we are uploading the purchase, then we have to put in the bank account number of my supplier, because he is the seller in that transaction. If I am putting the information, sorry, if I'm putting the information of sale, I'm very sorry, please pardon me. If I'm putting the information of sales, then I am the seller. Hence, I have to put my bank account number and IFSC code here. If in the case of procurement, my supplier is the seller, so we have to put his bank account number and IFSC code here. I hope I'm clear. We can go to now the very important part here, which we want to show it to you, that we would be having multiple line item, multiple invoices in a year, thousands of invoices. So we have created a solution, a tech solution for this. And if the organizer can give me the access of sharing my screen, I would like to show you that particular thing with the permission. So how it goes, as we have shown that there is a sample data, we have created a sample data for you. It is nothing but the same thing which was seeing at the screen at this point of time. This is the same Excel which we have shown you thing. Now, because it asked for the invoice, and I have told you that I will be talking about this PDF file name later after completing this. This PDF file name is nothing but the file name of the copy of the invoice, soft copy of the invoice, which we have to put in a particular folder. For example, one vendor, then we have to put it in a particular folder, like this is the invoice one, and this is mapped here. So all files of the invoice, the name of the invoice, we have to map with a particular record, that for which record this invoice pertains to. Once we do this, I'll walk you through very quickly. So this bot will say open browser. It will open the CPCB portal automatically. You have to excuse us because CPCB portal is a bit slow today. We are seeing this particular thing. Once it is open, we have to just uh, we have to just give the email. Email means the email which we have given at the time of login. So I'll log in with the already created email. Then we have to give them the password. So you can see that once I have given the email and password to my system, it has automatically logged in at the portal. Then we have to give obviously it will send an OTP and we have to give the OTP, which is I'm putting right now here. Once I give the OTP, you will see that its system has already logged in. I will say I am a producer. It will take me to the thing. Then I will say I want to put in the sales information. So A for procurement and B for sales information. Once this is there, it will ask me, okay, tell me about the data as the Excel data, which may contain 5,000 records, which may contain 10,000 records, which may contain 2,000 records, obviously already mapped as per the CPCB detail. Then it will ask me, okay, where are your PDFs, copy of invoice placed? So we have to tell them these are my copy of invoices. Once I do this, it will start automatically filling in the data, and you will see that it is very fast, much faster than if I put in manually. Pardon me for the slowness of the CPCB website. It may accordingly do the things.
You can proceed, yeah, Puneet.
So it will be it automatically take all the information from the Excel, and whatever records are there present in the Excel with the invoices, it will automatically do the things. We just need to monitor and it will be done. Uh, so I hope this is clear. So can you share the screen now? Because this is the thing which I wanted to show. I'll stop the screen sharing now. So we can go to the next slide then. As I already told you, that in the 16 data point, the important part are address, contact number, plastic material type, category of plastic, the quantity of plastic packaging. I will emphasize again the quantity of plastic packaging. If we are procuring directly the plastic packaging, we have to tell that quantum. If we are procuring any product, then we have to tell about the plastic packaging coming with that product. Then GST detail of the seller. Again, if it is a procurement activity, then we have to give the GST detail of our supplier. If it is a sales activity, then we have to give the GST detail of ourselves. Then total quantity is sold, percentage of recycled content, invoice number. These are the important factors here. Can we go to the next slide? This particular part, wherein, as earlier I told you that this is meant only for producer, for brand owner and importer, they don't ask for these information. For producer, it is very important that we have to give each and every image of my place which has been asked in a geotagged manner. So whatever image we are clicking, that should backed up with a geotagged tagging on it. We have to give them a disaster management plan, that whenever there is a natural calamity, then how my business will be continuing and what are the steps we have to be taken apart from the other thing. So herein, this is the place wherein it asks for the machine detail. He asks for the factory details. So we have to give each and every machine's detail here. It is recommended. Can we go to next slide? Once all these things are done on the basis of the formula which Abhishek has mentioned earlier, it will calculate the EPR target. And on the basis of EPR target, once the EPR target is generated, they will ask for a cover letter and digital signature. Digital signature here means the scanned signature of the authorized person, and the cover letter has also to be signed by the authorized person only. If I want to give them some additional extra information, then I can put that particular information, collect that particular information, and then put it in other information detail, and we can furnish it. Once we do that, we have to say some I agree, and then we are ready to submit the application. Once we submit the application, it will take us to the next step, which is the payment step. On the basis of EPR target, which has been generated here, on the basis of that, it automatically tell us about the payment, that how much payment we have to do. The payment you can do with any debit card, credit card, net banking, any facility. Online payment, it has to be done online. Once you submit the payment, your application is submitted. After that, there is a very important step which has to be considered, is to wait for the approval of the application from the authority. If it is SPCB, then from SPCB. If it is CPCB, from CPCB. They may raise a query if they need extra information or something like that. They may raise a query and send it to you. You have to clarify those query, and once those queries are clarified, that can be the application is approved. Otherwise, they will approve the application on the portal, and you will get the certificate information on your email, and you will get the certificate within your application. Can we go to the next slide? And with this, I can come back to you in your Q&A session. I'm there, and over to Abhishek for that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Puneet, for taking us through the EPR registration process in a very holistic manner. But coming back, see, we understood the registration process, the requirement of registration. But there are certain queries which, frequently asked question, which, industry, and there are a lot of challenges the industries are facing. To answer those queries, we have kind of categorized certain challenges, which is which is generic challenges and which is faced by majority of the companies. First one is, what is the case wherein plastic packaging sold to the contract manufacturers or brand owners? See, as per the FAQ 19 of CPCB, they have clarified, if the third party does not have a brand name associated with them, the EPR liabilities are to be taken by the concerned brand owners or producer to whom the product are being sold. See, ultimately for those products or plastic packaging along with those products, the ultimate brand owner is responsible. But the problem here is the transaction doesn't support, the invoice transaction does not support the name of the brand owner to claim that particular quantity movement into sales. So for that, what we're suggesting, check the transaction invoice. If your transaction invoice have a bill to ship to or any mechanism wherein brand owner name is mentioned, then you can probably directly transfer those quantities on the name of brand, and you can skip the writing the name of the contract manufacturers. In case there is no name mentioned, then in that case you would might ask this third party contract manufacturer to register as a producer, take the obligation and further transfer it to the brand owner, or they can connect with the brand owner directly if they permit and allow to take the quantum directly on the name of brand owner, skipping the contract manufacturer. But that would require a declaration and documentation to be taken care of. Further, there's a lot of queries which we have received in terms of, what about the companies who are into the creation of paper based laminated paper based packaging. So are they obligated as a producer? There are multiple queries which has come. See, for those companies, they are involved in the supply chain of making the packaging, in which plastic is also becoming a part of the packaging, which is category 3. And for that, yes, you will need to register as a part of the value chain as a producer and ensure that transactions are reported and purchase and sales transactions are reported. However, we suggest that whenever you are moving those transactions and making this transaction sales reported for the brand owners, have a discussion and engagement with the brand owner in terms of what is the quantum of those products been taken. For example, there is a paper and a plastic laminated cardboard or a box for packaging, whether the brand owner has taken the full obligation of those packaging or have taken only the plastic weight. Now, to add to that complication, because it is, yeah, little complicated, wherein the CPCB FAQ 18 has clarified saying that only the weight of plastic layer is to be considered for EPR in case of MLP. However, there is a MOFCC office memorandum wherein they have proposed to include, or they have guided to take the full weight of the packaging which has paper and a plastic. So there is a lot of little unclarity and there's a discussions going on. But for your safe, for as a producer and a brand owner, it's better to discuss discuss between the parties and take a conscious call. Further, a question which keeps on coming, and it's a very important question: what is the producer obligation? The sale made to unregistered entities and the sale made to micro and small, exempted brand owners are will be the obligation. To add to this point, let me go to the notices and what has been released. Please move to that notice section. Yeah. So on the left side, you will see there is a notice or circular released by CPCB on dated 7th of June, wherein they have clearly said that provision of accounting of plastic packaging sold by producers to unregistered brand owners for assessment of EPR target have been made on the portal. So if you are selling to unregistered brand owners and you are giving the details, then this per quantum can be considered, and they are giving updating that the provision has been made, but we do not see that active as of now. However, the provision on the basis of the current registration in which you are selling to unregistered brand owners, on the basis of that, a provisional target will be generated. So that provisional target will include the quantum you have sold to unregistered brand owner. However, what they are proposing that during the annual return filing time, when you are finally updating all the details required for the annual return time, there, after post you file the annual return, then the final target will be released for these producers, brand owners. So, but there is a caveat attached to that in that notice, wherein CPCB have said this mechanism will be applicable to the producers who have registered up to 30th June 2023. However, we are expecting that the CPCB will grant this before the annual return, as they are working on it. But to add to that point, that CPCB is trying to give this benefit to the producer, that if you are registered and if you are still selling to unregistered who is not micro and small brand owners, you would be able to claim those quantities. And to affect if to implement that, CPCB has very recently issued two show cause notice. One is to unregistered brand owners and one is to unregistered producers. And they have given a list of all those entities who are unregistered, and they have asked for a show cause notice, and CPCB has given a 15 days for them to register. On top of that, for putting convenience and removing difficulties for the producers, CPCB has relaxing certain requirements under the registrations and the compliance for the micro and small producer. While there is no exemption, but they are still going ahead and improving and providing certain convenience in the registration requirement. Please move ahead. Now, coming back, as we spoke about the registration, we spoke about our target, our compliances, our obligation. A very important thing comes to the play is the EPR credit, which through which, or EPR credit, your online certificate, through which the EPR obligation is adjusted and fulfilled. First, and a very important thing for all of you present here, is that only and only electronic credit or EPR credit generated through the CPCB portal will only be considered for your EPR fulfillment. So that's a non-negotiable thing we need to have. Further, what we have seen that people are not able to get the source from where they need the EPR credits. So that's the one and only source. Check the CPCB portal. They check the CPCB dashboard, for which you can see a screenshot below. And we have a something created for the convenience of the industry, which I will show in some time, upcoming slides. So you have to check this. Further, there's a notice which CPCB have issued to this PWP, asking them that they need to generate the EPR credit by 31st July and they need to file the annual returns, these PWPs. So these are steps are being taken for ensuring the credit issuance and transfer becomes easy, and EPR fulfillment is done for the all the PIBOs. Now industries we know are facing a lot of issues in terms of getting this EPR credit. One, for example, it's not very easily available in the market for a lot of companies. Specifically, certain states, specifically Gujarat related PWPs are not yet audited, which is required for issuing the EPR credit. So that is one important thing we need to see. But however, we have started seeing the Gujarat PWPs have got the approval, and they are now starting to issue the credits. Further, there are issues in getting the credit from the co-processor and cement plants. There are a lot of arguments and discussions happening there as well. But overall, one thing is very clear: EPR credit is required. And to issue this EPR credit, the plastic waste processors, after the registration process, will have to go through an SPCB or local pollution control board audit basis the checklist provided by the CPCB. So it's not only registered PWPs but also an audited PWP and who have the access to issue the EPR credit. To for issuing the EPR credit, there's a lot of process we are not going into right now. We are going into PIBA compliances as of now. Please move into next slide. So over here on the CPCB dashboard, you can see the list of the recycler, their email IDs, their EPR certificate available, their capacities, but it is highly not convenient. And in terms of huge database, it takes a lot of time, for which we have kind of made a simplified, dashboard where database for internally for helping the companies to provide them with the data. So this is one URL we have created for where we have accumulated all the data of the registered recycler, and it's a very simplified way. So for example, let's say I want to see I want to see some recycler in the state of Telangana, for example. Let's say let us show Telangana. Yeah. So we want a filter. We just want the recycler for Telangana. So we get the recycler of Telangana. So let's say there is a Sri Chakra Plast India Private Limited is a recycler. We have the email ID addressed. We know what kind of a class of PWP is engaged into, and we would want to see their capacity. It's just available on a click of a button. And if you want to see what is their certificate available potential and the type of processing, we also have that at a click of a button. So this is created for ensuring and providing access to data in a very simplified manner for the companies who are facing issues in terms of figuring out. So connect with our team, they will be able to handle and help you provide the information and database for these recyclers. Further, as I said, CPCB have issued a circular and important notice on 4th of July asking these PWPs to generate the EPR certificates. Now, in terms of timeline of getting these certificates and in terms of timelines for updating your purchase and sale transaction, see as what CPCB, and this is again verbal what they have said, what they have confirmed is that we need all of these information before your annual filing return, even the EPR credit, even the purchase and sale transactions. But we need to ensure we reach to that stage, and there's a lot of work involved in doing that. So we should not wait for the last day to good get it done. Even if we start today, it's a very tough task to get all those things done by end of the year, by the required stipulated timeline. Please move. So this is the dashboard of the EPR credit, wherein in the dashboard you would see what is the credit available for you, what you have sold, what you have purchased, and on the bottom side where you see there is a list, there you will see the certificates, and there is a I button in which if you click, you will get to see the details of those certificates. So you will know from whom, which recycler you have received the credit, what is the transaction number, what kind of credit it is for, what is the quantum, what is the transaction ID. And that is an important thing to ensure the transaction ID as a part of to ensure that there is a transaction ID you have, which you can make a backup to make the payment to ensuring that we have received that. So there is a standard process we have built for ensuring that EPR credit is received, and how we ensure that there are sufficient controls before we make the payment to these companies. So that is about the EPR credit. Please move ahead. Now, Coming to the annual returns, see, annual return, as I said, is a culmination and a combination of these activities and reporting these activities at the end of the year. One is definitely uploading all your purchase and sale transactions, the invoices, before the annual return timeline. Now there has been some questions I have been reading on the chat box, wherein people are asking whether we need to upload all the invoices or we need to upload the sample. See, CPCB recently came up with the same similar kind of a bot and a guideline document wherein they have asked that all invoices needs to be uploaded along with the invoice details. So, and that is why they have facilitated a bot which facilitate doing the same thing, but it is there are a lot of hiccups coming in terms of using that bot. That bot is not able to use during the registration and XYZ. So we have the solution, we can help you, but CPCB has asked for it, while there's still people, industries when companies are following the mechanism of giving sample invoices, but verbal confirmation by CP and on the basis of document and the CPCB bot, they are expecting invoice level details and invoice level invoice copy for each transactions. Second, ensuring we have all the EPR credits up to the target what we have. If we have category 100, category 200, and category 300 for FY 22-23, we need to have those credits in our wallet to extinguish against our target. And third is very important, which is volume of plastic introduced for the current or next year, wherein again we will have to input the state wise pre-post category wise plastic consumption on the portal. And once we file the annual return, we will have to pay 25% of the registration fees for successfully filing the annual return. Please go ahead. So this is the, on the left side on the portal screenshot, you can see there is a tab in which you have the option of clicking and filing, putting the say, consumption of plastic packaging, extinguishing your EPR credits, and providing all the details which are required as per the process. Yeah, please move ahead. Yeah, Ipshita, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Puneet and Mr. Abhishek, for giving your insights. They were really helpful in understanding the entire portal, right from the registration part, detailing everything, and then of course about the transaction details, uploading the annual return filing, and the very important wallet. So yes, I hope this information is fruitful to everyone. I want to, instigate here that how we are going to help you, in your entire process. First of all, a little bit introduction about who AA Garg and Co is. A to G, as we call it, as we call the firm, we are management and consulting firm practicing EPR, ESG, corporate finance and business operations, and provide tech-enabled solutions. So we have a list of standard and bespoke services. Please do reach out to us if you are facing challenges anywhere, and we will be there to stand up with a solution to help you move onward. We have in-depth experience of working with Fortune 500 companies in the across sectors of FMCG, pharmaceuticals, automobile, manufacturing, packaging industry, electrical and electronic goods, e-commerce. We are practicing in India. We have also, practicing in the emerging markets lately. And yes, our multidisciplinary team of experts and partners, we have it from all across the industry. So yes, our team is built up of experts. We are across plastic waste, e-waste, waste tire and battery waste. So be it any where today the EPR guidelines are present today in India, anywhere, any of the rules you are facing any kind of challenges, please reach out to us for simpler solutions. We are introducing EPR Assist over here, a model that has been curated, understanding from your problems. So we have, people reached out to us with their problems, concerning to EPR compliances, concerning to consultancy, what and where to help the solution. So we have developed this model, which is a combination of compliance, consulting and support, and supported by value added services, where in compliances we take care of EPR registration, the fulfillment, EPR fulfillment and plan of action, the transaction details uploading, concurrent compliances, and the filing of annual returns. For the consulting and compliance supporting, we help you with the technical consulting, with the various updates that we keep on receiving with respect to the regulations, guidance on compliance reporting, regulatory updates, and various ad hoc queries. With respect to the value added services, we help you and support you with the verification and assurance part. We are in the compliance, EPR compliance, and due diligence for your service partners. We help you assess your EPR target. We also train and we also provide the training and awareness sessions in your companies if you want your employees to be trained. We help you with the policy advocacy and representation and various other kinds of bespoke solutions. So our services here are just listed, but yes, we are spread across the entire industry of EPR. You have a challenge, please reach out to us. We will be there standing with a solution. The contact numbers are listed. Please do not hold yourself in reaching out to us. And here, yes.
So yeah, so there is an announcement I would want to share with all of you here present here. So we have recently partnered with Gaviva, a tech-enabled solution which provides a seamless ESG reporting, and we have partnered together to provide a one-stop solution in ESG integration and reporting. So please reach out to us if you have facing issue in ESG reporting and integration. We will be there to help you for that as well.
Thank you everyone for making this training session of today so impactful and so memorable. Uh, Really, I would like to thank each one of you for taking out time and attending today's session. Thank you so much. And
Thank
thank
you,
you, Mr.
everybody.
Abhishek
Thank
and
you.
Mr. Puneet, for
Thank you.
giving us your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day ahead, everyone.